Hi, am I on the air?
Yep.
Fuck.
Thanks.
We interrupt our program to bring you a special broadcast.
Is this thing on? I said shots to Nick and Dawn. Him on the air radio every Sunday night, man. What up? Red Dragons. Shout out to the boy Nick. I see you, Don. You about to witness the real talk, real talk. Put it in your ear. We reaching for the sky, but we put it in the air. Not a glass jar, but I tell it to you clear. Hammer on the air, we rock. Here's your whip, man. Hammer on the air, here's this mic here for nothing. My demographic poor dude box office numbers. Weekend review said we number one getters. Now y'all all here, we're number one getters. Turn it on, Nick and Dawn. And I'm like, turn it up, what the fuck, We air it out, wear it out, and we winning. Him on the air, follow back, and we trending. You can't tell me what I bet not be. Don't give a FCK about the FCC. I'm the head for the hellas, voice for the voices. Him on the air Sunday night, and I'm off this.
Well, what is going down, everyone? Welcome back. It's another edition of Am I on the Air? Welcome to the show. I'm your host, DONMEGA, and tonight it's Season 8, Episode 7. Tonight's show is titled Buckle Up. We got the week's worth of news in the entertainment world, TV, music, movies, along with a brand new movie review of our big release this weekend, which was Need for Speed. So sit back, relax, and let me get you caught up with everything in the world of entertainment news. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to start off with the review of Need for Speed. Need for Speed just opened up this past weekend, and yeah, I was so interested in this movie. I'm a fan of the video game, and I was hoping that the movie would be decent, you know, and so I had mid expectations for it. The cast, of course, has Aaron Paul, which most people know from Breaking Bad, Dominic Cooper, which most people will know as young Tony Stark's dad, Howard Stark in Captain America: The First Avenger, Imogen Poots, Scott Mezcudi, also known as Kid Cudi in the rap world, Rami Malek, Ramon Rodriguez, Dakota Johnson is in there, Michael Keaton, so decent cast. So let's get into the review. You know, this movie just came out, and right off the bat, a big plus I want to say for this film is there is no CGI in the movie. And hats off. Hats are off to them for pulling off some incredible stunts in this film. I cannot believe some of the racing, some of the stunts that they pull off. And knowing that this is all 100% real and done old school style. The movie is directed by Scott Woe, and he is a former stuntman himself. So he was very adamant when he taking over this film that he wanted to do things old school style and actually do the stunts themselves. He didn't want to rely on CGI and anything fake. Really, he wanted everything to come off super legit, and I applaud him big time because everything did. All the racing was so realistic, the crashes were realistic, you felt it when these cars were blazing through the streets, and it definitely held my attention. If there's one negative I can really say about this film, it's probably the runtime. It does run a little over 10 minutes, or a little over 2 hours long, and I don't really think that that's needed for a movie like this. This movie probably should have been around the 1 hour and a half to hour 45 mark. But you know, every time there was racing going on, everything else went out the window for me. I was just so locked in to the racing that I was good to go. So in the end result, when I walked out of this, I gotta say, it exceeded my expectations. It really did. Like I said, I went in with modest expectations, not expecting all that much. I expected to like the car stuff. But I actually dug the story for the most part. There was some stupid stuff in the story, and for spoiler alert purposes, I'm not going to get into it. Really, it's a revenge flick, and it's about Aaron Paul's character really getting into it with Dominic Cooper's character and getting into this super secret top race that Michael Keaton puts on. But there's a lot of backstory behind it, and just some of it was a little bit of a stretch, where you're just like, come on, like they're really pushing here. But I don't go into a movie like this for the story. I really don't. You go into a movie like this to shut your brain off and just enjoy a good popcorn flick. See some fast cars, some badass cars, because this movie's got some sweet ass cars I've never even seen or heard of before. Just tearing through the streets. And for what I wanted for a movie called Need for Speed, based on a video game, this movie passed my expectations. It exceeded it, and in the end result, when I put it on the star scale, I was trying to think, like, what else is there that would make me weigh this down? And there just really wasn't when I based this movie on what was it intended to do, and did it give me everything it needed to do. And it pretty much did. So in my star scale of 5 stars, I give Need for Speed 4 out of 5. I really, really dug this movie. I thought it was pretty damn awesome. I will buy this on Blu-ray when it comes out and watch it again. I think it has some replay value, and it definitely has some sequel value as well too. But we'll see if we get there. The movie is doing very, very well overseas, where with the domestic totals and the foreign totals, the movie has already made back its $60 million budget. So, pretty decent, Some people might look at the box office this weekend and say it kind of bombed. Well, at least on the domestic side, and that's because the movie did debut at number 3 this weekend. I'll get into box office later, but Need for Speed debuted at number 3 with 17.8 million. 17.8 million ain't too shabby for a film like this, let me just say. Yes, it's number 3, but I mean, it's up against some big competition right now, and that is not bad for a movie like this. And like I said, overseas, it's brought in, I think, over 50 million already. So it's made back its budget. So everything going forward from here is really profit. So if the studio likes the demand, and there is some demand from fans, then I don't see why we wouldn't get a sequel. So, like I said, if you're into movies kind of like the original Fast and Furious, and you just want to see some good racing, with a pretty decent story for a popcorn flick like this, then I definitely recommend you check out Need for Speed. So once again, 4 out of 5 for me on the Need for Speed scale. Alrighty, my friends, let's get in to the news of the week. Mark Webb, who's the director of the Amazing Spider-Man reboot, he's doing this summer's Amazing Spider-Man 2. He is also signed on to do Amazing Spider-Man 3. A couple pieces of news for him. He has come out and said that he will not direct the Amazing Spider-Man 4. So this is the first we're hearing of that. Now Sony has locked in a release date for Amazing Spider-Man 4. It's going to come out in 2017. Yeah, 2017. Yeah, 2017. And he said, I would like to stay on as, like a producer and a consultant, but he's not going to direct the film. So he's going to stop after part 3, which I think is good. I think it'll be nice to have a fresh pair of eyes behind the camera for number 4. But he also wanted to address, a lot of people have been saying, Spider-Man 2 looks like it's going to have a villain overload. Excuse me, and a lot of people are complaining about this. So he wanted to set the record straight, and he says there is not a villain overload in this movie. Everything is very panned out, and he goes on to state that the Rhino, which Rhino is one of the villains in this film, he says Rhino will only be in 4 minutes of the film. So that's pretty interesting because we've seen Rhino in the trailers, we've seen him in the TV spots. There's actually a new Spider-Man poster that actually has Spider-Man fighting Rhino on it. But he says Rhino is only in the movie for 4 minutes, so he says don't worry about overcrowding. The main focus, will be on Electro, and with Green Goblin kind of hovering in the background. So he says don't worry. So we'll take his word for it. Amazing Spider-Man 2 looks amazing, and it's going to be our first big summer movie out the gate. So don't worry about villain overload. You can worry about that when they do the Sinister Six. All right. On last week's episode, we talked about the MTV Movie Awards, gave some predictions on that and everything. Then it came out that MTV is going to honor Mark Wahlberg with their Generation Award. And I think this is awesome, man. I think for the MTV generation, there's nobody better right now than Mark Wahlberg to give something like this to. I'm a huge Mark Wahlberg fan. I like almost every single movie this dude has put out. I love The Other Guys. I love Ted. He's going to be in Transformers: Age of Extinction this summer. I love Four Brothers. I love Fear, which was one of his first movies he ever came out with. The Perfect Storm, Three Kings. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on for Mark Wahlberg. The dude is just badass. He kills it. Two Guns was one of my favorite movies of the summer last year. So him receiving the Generation Award, I think, is very well deserved, and my hat is off to Mark Wahlberg. So congratulations to him getting that very prestigious award from the MTV Movie Awards. Excuse me. Chris Hemsworth did an interview at WizardCon actually last week, and they were talking to him about Avengers 2, and he says in this new movie, everything is ramped up. He says everything's bigger, better, it's darker. All the stakes are really risen in the next film, which is kind of what you'd expect for a sequel for Avengers. I mean, Avengers was so big and so bad. You want them to take it to the next step. So it's just good to hear when you hear it from a star. So Chris Hemsworth, big thumbs up. Everything ramped up in Avengers 2. For the TV stuff, if you've watched The Tomorrow People over on the CW, they're actually moving it. It used to be on Wednesday nights after Arrow, and now they're going to, starting actually tomorrow on March 17th, The Tomorrow People will be on Monday nights moving forward. So I'm going to have to get used to that. I do watch The Tomorrow People, and I think it's great. So I think you guys should check it out if you're a fan of Arrow or, a fan of anything kind of like kind of superpowers, supernatural kind of thing. You should check out The Tomorrow People. Over on Fox, some sad news for the people that like the TV show Raising Hope. This is not a show that I've watched, but Raising Hope's been on for a bit. Fox has ended up canceling it. Raising Hope will end with this current season, actually with an hour-long finale episode. So Raising Hope canceled over at Fox. Over in TV ratings, when we did last week's show, it was the finale of True Detective, and it did series high, record-breaking numbers for HBO. It was one of HBO's top-rated shows in years, and they're definitely looking forward to bringing the show back for a second season with some new stars. If you haven't heard, True Detective will be like an anthology type show, kind of like how American Horror Story does it, where every season will be a new story, a new chapter, kind of in that world, but with different actors and actresses and stuff. So the story with Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson is done, and we'll move on to a new chapter. Josh Duhamel will co-star in Vince Gilligan's Battle Creek. Battle Creek is a new TV show that they're putting out. I reported, actually, I think in last week's episode, that Bryan Singer, the director of the X-Men franchise, is actually directing the pilot show. I like Josh Duhamel a lot, and this show, everything I'm hearing about this show sounds really, really good, so I think he's a great addition to Battle Creek. Now we all know over on the USA Network, Psych is in its last season, and its main star, James Roday, is moving over to CBS, and he'll star in a new comedy called Good Session. So I'm glad that he was able to find new work right away. Taylor Swift has actually been named Billboard's top moneymaker for 2014. Ooh, that's a big, big deal there. So congratulations to Taylor Swift. And let's see here, and let's run down the list here. Top 10 moneymakers of 2014. Coming in at number 10 is Fleetwood Mac with $19 million. Number 9 is Pink with $20 million. Number 8 is Luke Bryan with $22 million. Number 7 is Maroon 5 with $22 million also, just a little bit more on top of it. Number 6 is Beyonce with $24 million. Number 5 is the Rolling Stones with $26 million. Number 4 is Bon Jovi with $29 million. Number 3 is Justin Timberlake with $31 million. Number 2 is Kenny Chesney with $32 million. And number 1, like I just discussed, Taylor Swift taking the top spot. She ranks in with $39 million. God, talk about money. That is just insane. Taylor Swift does not need $39 million in 1 year. Jesus. But congratulations, that's pretty awesome. We posted on our Facebook page this week the first released photo of the guy playing the Flash in the new CW show. We put up a picture a couple weeks ago of just a side profile of him in the helmet version of it. Now we have a full body shot of the full Flash suit. So you can check that out on the Twitter page and the Facebook page if you'd like to see how the new Flash suit's going to look in the CW show. I liked it. It reminded me a lot of Daredevil's outfit. It's got that maroon biker-looking style. I'm curious to see it in action. So I'll have to wait and probably see on that. But so far, so good. So you like check it out for yourself. Let's see what else we got here. Going back to True Detective, it was HBO's most watched new series since 2001. Terry Crews. I love Terry Crews. I love this guy. And what I love about him is he doesn't give any fucks when it comes to casting stuff. He throws his name out and throws it in the hat all on his own. He'll just come out and he'll be like, yeah, I want to play this role, come on. And he tries to get his fans all involved and get everybody to start hyping him up. You know, he did an interview a while back and was talking about how he'd love to be the Thane in the Fantastic Four reboot. And obviously by now you know that they did not go with him for the Thane. So now the next step coming up is he would like to be Luke Cage. Yes, Terry Crews would like to play Luke Cage, and if you don't know, Luke Cage is one of the characters, one of the Marvel characters, that's going to end up having their own Netflix show. So, you know, Netflix is going to be doing Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Daredevil, and Jessica Jones, all leading into like a team-up movie called The Defenders. And I think Terry Crews would be an awesome Luke Cage. I don't know if Marvel's going to do it. I don't know if anybody really truly feels that Terry Crews can really carry a full show by himself without a great ensemble. But, you know, who knows what the ensemble would be for Luke Cage. So I like the idea. He would make an amazing Luke Cage. So I love Terry Crews always throwing his name out in the hat like that. Staying on topic with Marvel, I wanted to say this week's episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was really, really solid. We had our first really big crossover. They've called a couple episodes crossovers with the movie universe, but we had our first really big one with Sif. Jamie Alexander, who plays Sif in the 2 Thor movies, she came out and came to Earth to help fight and capture another Asgardian, and we're talking about Lorelei. Lorelei was teased at the previous week's episode at the very end. She's somebody from Asgard that has the power to manipulate men. You know, with a single touch, she can control any men, make them do her bidding, fall in love with her, and will do anything for her. And Lorelei was pretty damn hot, so I can see how she could pull it off. Great episode. Sif comes to Earth. Obviously, you know, she has no effect on women, so Sif is the one that comes to fight her and take her down and fight with S.H.I.E.L.D. Great episode. Really great episode. And I feel, hear me out here, I feel like the show is trying to connect and might even be teasing maybe a little bit of a direction for where we'll go in Thor 3. We do know Thor 3 is coming, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Thor 2, spoiler alert, but so I'm giving you fair warning. At the end of Thor 2, you think Loki's dead, but it turns out Loki is alive, and he's portraying their dad, Odin. He's in Odin's form. So at the end of the episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Sif says, Odin wanted Lorelei alive, and he's demanded that I bring her back to him. So in my mind automatically starts thinking, it's Loki that wants Lorelei, pretending to be Odin. So he wants Lorelei, which then makes me think, okay, how can we turn this into something in part 3? In the comics, there's a villain called the Enchantress. She also has like special powers. She's a sorceress, and her and Loki team up in the comics. And that Lorelei character from that episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Lorelei is actually the Enchantress's sister. So I'm starting to think like maybe we'll get the Enchantress in Thor 3, and they'll actually use Lorelei to seduce Thor. Work her little powers, make Thor fall in love with her, and then basically get him out the way so Loki and the Enchantress can dominate Asgard. So just a little bit of an idea, throwing that out the box, and I think it's very, very interesting, and I think it could be a direction we might go for Thor 3. So keep that in the back of your mind. If it does happen, you can say, DONMEGA told me about that first on Am I on the Air, March 16th, 2014. So, just saying. Keeping up with the Marvel news, I just want to shout out how amazing the early word and the early reviews for Captain America the Winter Soldier are. They started screening it earlier this week for critics. They did a couple press screenings, and every critic so far has said this movie is fantastic, outstanding, near perfect. Everybody always lists the Avengers as the best Marvel movie to date. Several critics are saying this movie surpasses the Avengers and is the best told, all-rounded story that Marvel has ever done. So, man, have my expectations just shot through the roof like no tomorrow for Captain America the Winter Soldier. So many people are saying this movie is the shit, and this is going to be the best movie Marvel has ever done. So I just can't wait to see this film. I'm so stoked. I was stoked before, but now it's on a whole completely different level that I can't even explain. So April 4th cannot get here soon enough. I gotta see Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Continuing once again with the Marvel news, Sebastian Stan, who played Bucky Barnes in the first Captain America movie, and of course he is the Winter Soldier in Captain America 2, came out the other day and said that he signed a 9-picture deal with Marvel. So, very cool. I wonder what they have planned. Are we going to see the Winter Soldier again? Are we going to see, him go back to being Bucky? And I gotta throw this out. In the comics, spoiler alert, in the comics, Captain America ends up getting killed. And in the comics, Bucky, who was the Winter Soldier at one point, and since he's kind of superpowered like Captain America, takes over as Captain America after Steve Rogers dies. Now, on last week's show, I talked about how Chris Evans is looking at possible retirement after his Marvel contract is up. He could make it to Avengers 3 and possibly die in Avengers 3. Maybe he dies in Captain America 3. And then we get that storyline of Bucky taking over, and then eventually Chris Evans could return and become Cap again. It's just speculation. I mean, it makes you think that way when you know that they've signed the guy to a 9-picture deal, and we know Chris Evans only has 3 pictures left on his contract. So, It could be. Now, on another side note, I do have to preface that when they sign these guys for like these 9-picture deals and 7-picture deals and stuff like that, it's just to lock the actor in. It does not mean that the studio has to use them. So just because Sebastian Stan has a 9-picture deal doesn't mean that Marvel has to put him in every movie going forward or ever use them ever again if they don't want to. Marvel could say, nope, we're done. And just move on. What they do is they sign these guys to big multiple film deals like this, so then they're just good to go. So if they decide, you know what, we want to use Winter Soldier in this next movie, or we want to use Bucky over here, or we want to maybe use Bucky and S.H.I.E.L.D. the TV show, they can do that because they got the guy signed for 9 appearances. And plus they went through such a negotiating fiasco with Robert Downey Jr. to come back that they probably just don't want to deal with that shit ever again, so now they sign their guys to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 deals at one time to just not worry about it. And if they need you, you're locked in. If they don't need you, then you're good to go. So, no harm, no foul. So, they might never need Sebastian Stan ever again. But, if they do, he's good to go with a 9-picture deal. I'm just saying, keep in the back of your mind, he could possibly become the new Captain America down the line, especially if they want to really have a big moment, I think, in Avengers 3, and you have Thanos fighting them, and Thanos kills Cap. Think about how crazy that would be. So, just keep that in the back of your mind. And since we're talking Captain America, I have to address the fact that the big news a couple of days ago was that we knew that on May 6, 2016, the Man of Steel 2 Superman vs. Batman movie is going to be coming out in theaters everywhere. We also knew that Marvel had that date locked out as well, just with an untitled picture. Rumor has it, and from very, very many sources, Marvel's film for that May 6th date is going to be Captain America 3. Now, if you ask Marvel, Marvel has not confirmed this, and their president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, has not confirmed this either himself. So, take this for what it is, but supposedly the sources are amazing, and everyone is running with this story as it's a done deal. So, according to all the news outlets, it is going to be Captain America 3 that will be going up against Man of Steel 2. I find it very hard to believe that if we get to May 6, 2016, that not one of these films are going to move out the way. I don't think it does either of these studios good to compete against each other on the same opening date. I just don't. I know Marvel had the date first, but, somebody's got to move. And Kevin Feige, once again from Marvel, claims, we're not going anywhere. That's our date, and we're sticking to it. Man of Steel 2, Superman vs. Batman, actually just got on the date a couple months back, because remember, they were supposed to come out next year in 2015, and then they pushed back a year to 2016. And they say they're not going anywhere. But like I said, in the end result, it does nobody any good. You're going to split your audiences down the middle if you come out in the same weekend, and everybody's going to lose money. Separate it out by a couple weeks. No one's going to care about it. Some people like myself will go and see both movies opening weekend, and it's not going to matter. For me, the biggest decision is going to be which one do I see first, which therefore I have to say I'd see Superman Batman first, because that's going to be new and unique and would never been done before, whereas this is the third part of Captain America, and even though The Winter Soldier is supposed to be one of the best movies ever, I can wait a day to see Captain America 3. I'm going to be dying to see Man of Steel 2 with Superman and Batman. So, as of right now, until Marvel says something different, we're going to run with the fact that it's going to be Captain America 3 opening up against Man of Steel 2 on May 6, 2016. So, we'll keep you posted and let you know if anybody decides to shift their dates out the way. ABC Family has set the summer premiere dates for Pretty Little Liars and Switched at Birth and The Fosters. If you would like to see the full release list of the dates, check out our Twitter stream. The Hunger Games Catching Fire came out on DVD and Blu-ray last Friday, and it sold a whopping 3.9 million units on DVD and Blu-ray in its first week out. So congratulations, man. Hunger Games is just killing it right now. Killing it. Jamie Foxx and Kevin Hart are set to play hitmen in the new Black Phantom movie. It's going to be directed by Tim Story. Tim Story did Ride Along with Kevin Hart, and I like the sound of this, man. Like, two hitmen. I think one's going to play kind of serious, one's going to play kind of goofy. I'm guessing Kevin Hart's going to be the goofy, but I can see it being really funny with Jamie Foxx and Kevin Hart. So the sounds of Black Phantom sound really, really good. So this is a cool movie project that it was nice to hear offered up. And kind of some interesting tidbit news. It was announced this week that Liam Neeson was actually offered the role of James Bond about 20 years ago and then turned it down. He was offered it before Pierce Brosnan jumped on. And his reasoning for turning it down, he said his wife told him, if you take this role, I'm leaving you. And he didn't want to lose his wife, so he didn't take the role. I don't understand why his wife would leave him for taking James Bond, but maybe she thought it was too sexy of a role and she just wasn't comfortable. I don't know. But it's very interesting that we could have had Liam Neeson as James Bond. Tom Bergeron is departing America's Funniest Home Videos. He's been doing it for so long. I never really liked his version, though. I always watched Bob Saget's version of America's Funniest Home Videos. Never really cared for Tom Bergeron's, but, Tom will still continue to do Dancing with the Stars and everything, but he is leaving America's Funniest Home Videos. Skrillex pulled a Beyonce and dropped a brand new album on iTunes last week. The album is called Recess, and I love Skrillex. I have not had a chance to listen to the CD yet, but I found it very, very cool that he'd pulled a Beyonce and basically just one morning we woke up and there was a new song, and then he started leaking a new song every hour on his app, and then boom, a new album was out. So very cool on Skrillex's part. We have a new Honest trailer for the movie Frozen. We have the second trailer for Noah. We have Everything Wrong with Days of Thunder in 8 minutes or less. Very interesting. CBS has renewed The Big Bang Theory for 3 more seasons, taking the show up to season 10 in 2017. Whew. That is a lot. There's not a single show out there that I can remember them just jumping ahead and signing for 3 years. It's a pretty safe bet. Big Bang Theory has been the #1 rated comedy on television for years now. So it's no shock that CBS would want to lock it down. But 3 years just seems like a lot. Season 10, it'll take this up to, and then who knows? Maybe they'll keep going, or maybe they'll call it quits. But congratulations, I love Big Bang Theory, so hey, I'll take 3 more seasons for sure. Another piece of Captain America news I forgot to tell you guys earlier is that the directors of The Winter Soldier, Joe and Anthony Russo, they are set to return for Captain America 3. So this is great news. I'm sure with us hearing that Winter Soldier is fantastic and one of the best Marvel movies to date, there's no doubt that's why Marvel has locked in the Russo brothers to return for Captain America 3. It makes so much sense, so let's do it, man. Hey, I want to bring back the same team that made one of the best movies ever. We have 4 actors in the running for Fantastic Four's Doctor Doom, and I'm very saddened by this news. So for your Fantastic Four, we already have Jamie Bell, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, and Miles Teller set to play the Fantastic Four. Now they're trying to find their Dr. Victor Von Doom for the main villain, which is, of course, Dr. Doom. They say it's been narrowed down to 4 choices. Domhnall Gleeson from About Time, Toby Kebbell from Wrath of the Titans, Eddie Redmayne from Les Mis, and Sam Riley from On the Road. Fantastic Four is set for release on June 19th, 2015, and I just gotta say, I don't really care for any of these names for Doctor Doom. I don't know, man. I'm getting real scared about this Fantastic Four reboot. The casting is just so off for me. The dude from About Time is the dorkiest looking little gingered guy that I've ever seen. How is he going to be Victor Von Doom? Are you kidding me? Toby Kebbell from Wrath of the Titans would probably be my best pick out of this. He's okay. Eddie Redmayne from Les Mis, he's okay too. He might be okay. But Sam Riley from On the Road, no thanks. Get Domhnall Gleeson and Sam Riley out of here. Leave it down to Toby and Eddie, and we'll see. But I hate this. I really hope that when they do cast Doom, that it just completely comes out of the blue and it's a name that we haven't even discussed, because these names just suck. Moving on, Warner Brothers has tapped Chris McKay to direct the Lego movie sequel, so I think Chris will do a really good job. He did not direct the original film, but he was a producer on it. He was also an animation supervisor, so he's familiar with this world. He knows how to get it done, and I'm glad he's on board. So Chris McKay will direct the Lego movie sequel. Sullivan Stapleton, who's the main actor in the new 300 Rise of an Empire, which is just killing it at the box office, he is hinting that the movie will continue on and they're going to be doing another sequel. So nothing confirmed from the studio yet, but he's pretty sure they're going to do a sequel, and you can't blame him. Like I said, it's killing it. They've already made their budget back, and the movie, literally, going on its second week at the box office, has already brought in over $200 million worldwide, and it's pretty damn impressive. So you gotta expect that this movie will get another sequel, no doubt. Going back to Marvel news again, there's so much going on right now. I'm sorry I don't have it all clamped together. But in just some interesting news, in one of the post-credit sequences, and there are two in The Winter Soldier, I'm not going to spoil them for you. I've heard about them, and I'm trying to keep things as surprising as I can, for even when I go to the theater to see this. But in one of the post-credit sequences in The Winter Soldier, the Avengers director, Joss Whedon himself, directed the first after credit sequence. So there's two. There's one at the very beginning of the credits, and then there's one at the very end of the credits. And Joss Whedon did the first one, which is going to be a direct tie-in to Avengers 2. So very cool. I like when Marvel goes and actually has the director of that movie that they're doing the end credit scene for come in and direct. Like James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy did the after credit scene in Thor 2. So it's very cool. Love Joss. Can't wait to see what he does with Avengers 2. We all love what he did with Avengers 1, so it's pretty cool that he did the post-credit sequence for Winter Soldier. I'm very happy about this. Key and Peele has been officially gotten their 4th season over at Comedy Central, so congratulations to Key and Peele. My favorite sketch comedy show. I love Key and Peele. I can't preach it enough. Go out and watch Key and Peele. So, always does great in the ratings, and I'm glad to see Comedy Central pick it up for a 4th season. They've also have greenlit a cartoon spin-off for Key and Peele. I don't know much about the cartoon portion of it, but it's something that the guys themselves are going to create. I don't know if it's going to be based on themselves or it's just new characters they made, but they're going to get a cartoon spin-off. So Key and Peele gets a 4th season and a cartoon spin-off. Rooney Mara, from, of course, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, she has been cast as Tiger Lily in the new Pan movie. Yes, Pan, of course, is the Peter Pan reboot type gritty make that they're doing where Hugh Jackman is Blackbeard. But Rooney Mara has been cast as Tiger Lily. Bill Paxton and Brendan Fraser are among history's all-star Texas Rising cast. Let me pull up some more details on this here, because this is a new miniseries that's going to be going down, and it's got a lot of people attached to it. The History Channel has set an all-star cast for its upcoming Texas Rising miniseries. So we got Bill Paxton, Brendan Fraser, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Ray Liotta, Thomas Jane, Oliver Martinez, Chad Michael Murray, Michael Rappaport, and Max Thero will star in the 8-hour miniseries. Very, very cool, very interesting, and that will air on the History Channel, so some good casting there. We have some more new trailers. We got The Quiet Ones. It's the second official trailer for that. The first trailer for Hate Ship, Love Ship, starring Kristen Wiig and Guy Pearce. We have another Everything Wrong With, and it's Everything Wrong With Fast and Furious. We have Carla Gugino, who I love. I love Carla. I've always loved her. She has signed on to join Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the new earthquake destruction movie San Andreas. San Andreas is about to start filming here in about 2 weeks, and Carla will be joining The Rock in that film. So very cool addition there. They actually had teamed up before in Race to Witch Mountain, so this is a second film that they're doing together. Actually, I think Carla was in Faster as well, so she's got a lot of history actually with Rock, so he's pulling some strings, I think, to get Carla along for the ride. In some news for you that have found the new A&E show Those Who Kill, some sad news for you. A&E has pulled it. Yeah, A&E has pulled A&E has pulled their new show Those Who Kill from the Monday night slot. It was airing after Bates Motel. They were hoping Bates Motel would be a great lead-in for it. And unfortunately, just people aren't sticking around. Bates Motel is doing great in the ratings, but Those Who Kill is not. Only 2 episodes aired, and A&E has already pulled the plug. My wife is a big fan of this show already. She loved the first 2 episodes of it, and she's devastated that they've already taken it off the schedule. There is some hope still, though, because the producers and some people over at A&E say that they believe in the show and they feel that it will gain some viewership and once they find it in a new spot. So it won't be Monday nights, but they're looking to hopefully find another spot on the schedule for it. So there is still hope. Those Who Kill may come back on your TV sets very soon. But for now, the episodes are pulled, and Bates Motel has just been shifted back to the 10 p.m. slot. All right, moving along, another piece of interesting music news. Lil Wayne had confirmed his retirement. He insists that his next album, The Carter 5, will be his last. No qualms for me on that. I can't stand Lil Wayne anymore, and I would like him to say bye-bye. So good for him. Taken 3 is moving along, and we already know Liam Neeson's coming back, but this past week the studio had locked in Maggie Grace and Famke Janssen to return for the series. So of course Maggie Grace plays his daughter, Famke Janssen plays his ex-wife. They're set to return for Taken 3. Hero star Adrian Pasdar has joined Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He'll be playing Glenn Talbot. Of course, most people know Glenn from the Hulk series. He actually was a character played in the original Hulk movie, the one from the Ang Lee Hulk that came out way back in the day. Glenn Talbot was a character in that version of the film. But it'll be interesting. I like this character, and I'm curious to see what S.H.I.E.L.D. will end up doing with it. For those of you that do Amazon Prime is increasing its rate. Right now it's $79 a year. They're making it $99 a year. So going up $20 there. Kevin Feige from Marvel says that the Avengers sequel will have very big parts for the Hulk and Hawkeye. So that's cool to hear. I mean, we love Hulk, and, Avengers is the only time we ever get to see Hulk since they're hesitant to do a standalone movie. And Hawkeye is a character that a lot of people felt got shafted in the first Avengers movie. Even Jeremy Renner thought he got shafted and almost didn't even return for the second film. So I'm sure they amped up his role to make him happy. So it's good to hear. I'm glad that Marvel's kind of getting behind and still giving everybody their time and due in these new movies. Right now for tracking, Captain America the Winter Soldier is tracking for an 80 million plus debut. So that's pretty cool. That's based on like Fandango and just like different ticket outlets are looking ahead and just forecasting, and they're thinking that it's on the way to make about an 80 plus million debut, which sounds good. And especially if this word of mouth keeps chugging along, then you're going to get, we're going to get a very big debut weekend for Captain America the Winter Soldier. CBS has renewed 18 primetime shows for the 2014 to 2015 season. That's pretty unheard of too, man. They pretty much are locking in their entire network of shows to bring them back. So So let's see here. They picked up 9 dramas. NCIS, television's #1 drama scripted program for the 5th consecutive year. NCIS Los Angeles, the #2 drama for the 4th straight year. Time period winners, Person of Interest, CSI, Crime Scene Investigation, Hawaii Five-0, Blue Bloods, as well as Criminal Minds, Elementary, and The Good Wife. The renewed comedies over on CBS are Two Broke Girls, The Millers, which is the #1 freshman comedy of the 2013-2014 season, Mike and Molly, Mom, and 2.5 Men. In alternative programming, CBS has also picked up The Amazing Race and Undercover Boss. And in the news section, they've renewed 60 Minutes, which is the television's #1 news program for more than 4 decades and 48 hours, Saturday's #1 non-sports program. In addition to these 18 series, CBS has also announced a 3-year broadcast deal for The Big Bang Theory, and previously the network has announced 2 more editions of Survivor for the next season. So a lot of shows renewed over at CBS. Very cool to see. I'm a big fan of Hawaii Five-0. I like The Millers. I like Two Broke Girls. I like Mike and Molly. I like Mom. I like 2.5 Men. So I'm very happy to see that all those shows will be returning, along with Big Bang Theory, for 3 more seasons. So big news on the CBS front as these networks are starting to announce, what's coming back. One thing I'm still holding my breath on is Almost Human. I loved Almost Human over on Fox. The show ended a couple weeks ago, and still no word from Fox yet on if his show's getting renewed or not. So fingers crossed still. FX has finally set a May return date for Louie. Louie's been on hiatus, but not no more. And in May, it will return. In some sad news, the movie trailer voiceover guy, Hal Douglas, died. He passed away. Everybody knows this guy. I mean, in a world. He did the movie trailer voices for many years. And his work wasn't used a lot recently, just because movie trailers are going more towards just, doing footage and showing dialogue and scenes from the actual movie itself. But you can't mistake the guy's voice, so it's very sad day for the movie trailer community. And I like this news. So Matthew Perry is starring in a new Odd Couple show, which will be on CBS. Odd Couple, of course, is a remake, and he's starring, and everybody's been wondering who is going to be the other part of the Odd Couple. We already got Matthew Perry. It needed to be somebody good and strong. Well, they announced it's going to be Thomas Lennon. I love Thomas Lennon, so I'm actually really stoked for the Odd Couple now, because I like Matthew Perry. I've always liked Matthew Perry since Friends, and I've tried to support him in pretty much every show that he's come out in. And Go On was the show he did last season on NBC. I thought it was a pretty good show. It was pretty funny. So Odd Couple with Thomas Lennon, I'm sold, man. Sign me up already. Thomas Lennon is my favorite from Reno 911. And, of course, he's been in a million movies here and there as always a little side character. But if you ever watch Reno 911, you love Thomas Lennon. So I think he's going to be great with Matthew Perry in The Odd Couple. So I hope the script is smart. I hope the comedy isn't too cheesy and over the top. And my fingers are crossed that The Odd Couple is going to be pretty tight. In some really cool casting news for Terminator Genisys, J.K. Simmons is in talks to star in the film. I love J.K. Simmons, and I think he'd be a great addition to Terminator Genisys. We also have the full complete guide for all the TV show pilots in 2014, so if you'd like to see that, check out the Facebook or the Twitter page. We released the first official photo of Matt Ryan as John Constantine in the new NBC Constantine TV show. We have the new Red Band trailer for Sabotage. We have another new trailer for Get On Up, which is the James Brown biopic film. We have a new trailer for Cuban Fury, which is a new comedy starring Nick Frost and Rashida Jones. We have another Everything Wrong With, and this time it's Everything Wrong With Hunger Games, Catching Fire, which was really good. Ride Along 2 has got its release date. It's finally locked in and happening. And they were very successful on Martin Luther King Day weekend this year. So guess what? That's what they're going to do again. Ride Along 2 will go into theaters on Friday, January 15th, 2016. So, little ways away, but Ride Along 2 will be coming on that weekend in 2016. January 15th, 2016. Some sad news for Keanu Reeves, man. This dude is having a hard time lately because, he came out with 47 Ronin back in December. It was a financial bomb for Universal Pictures. They had to write it off for all the money they lost. I mean, it was almost a $200 million film, and it barely brought in like 50 mil. Keanu was going to star in a new movie called Passengers, and they lost their distributor. Rachel McAdams was set to star in it. She dropped out, and now the release date has been dropped, and now the studio has kind of put the film on hold. So, it's pretty sad, man. I don't know what's going on with Keanu lately, but I think he needs to make that phone call and finally make Bill and Ted 3 finally happen, because the rest of these projects are just completely crashing and burning. So, very bad news. Losing your distributor, your release date, and Rachel McAdams is a big, big, tough hit for Passengers. Bryan Singer came out in an interview for talking about X-Men, and he said that X-Men Apocalypse, which is the next film coming out in 2016, will have all kinds of mass destruction. He says none of the X-Men films really dealt with mass destruction at this point, but, Apocalypse is such a big villain, and he just wants to destroy the world, so it's going to be a different type of X-Men film. And he talks a little bit more about the film and about the history of mutants and everything, so if you want to check out the full article, once again, the Facebook and the Twitter page. We also have TNT put some premiere dates on Rizzoli and Isles, Major Crimes, Perception, and more. Check out the full schedule over on the Twitter stream. Continuing on with Star Wars casting, J.J. Abrams has met with Lupita Nyong'o for a role in Star Wars Episode 7. Lupita, of course, mainly known for her Oscar-winning Lupita now, for her role in 12 Years a Slave. She's also now in theaters and nonstop. So very interesting that she met with J.J. over Star Wars Episode 7. Zach Galifianakis is going to be teaming up with John Hamm for a new movie called Keeping Up with the Joneses. It'll be a comedy movie, so I like the sounds of that. John Hamm can be really funny, and we all know Zach can, so I kind of like that team up. For those of you that saw The Raid Redemption, you know how badass of an action movie that was. Early word on The Raid 2, as a lot of people are saying, it's the Godfather 2 of action sequels, already considered one of the best action movies of all time. That's amazing hype, and I'm telling you, I've seen several people review this film, and they're all saying it takes action to a whole nother level, and it's going to be very hard for any film to really keep up with this. I know in the last show, and the show before that, we were talking about how the director of Expendables 3 is going to be doing the American remake of The Raid. They're just not going to be able to touch what these guys can pull off for the, for the foreign version. So good to hear. I can't wait to see the Raid 2 Bernadelle, because they're just getting me hyped again with just how great we're hearing the action is on this film. Kevin Feige says if they do a female hero movie, he says he doesn't really want it to launch off with Black Widow because Black Widow's been around for so many films. He would like to kind of kick it off with Miss Marvel. So I think that would be cool too. Miss Marvel would be a great character. She's somebody that's been teased to maybe be a part of Avengers and this or that. She might get her own solo film. She might be the first female solo hero out the gate. So we'll see on that. We got the new trailer for Maleficent, starring Angelina Jolie, so you can check that out. And pretty much in our last piece of news, James Mangold, who directed The Wolverine, he says that he's going to be making The Wolverine 3 after they make X-Men Apocalypse. So we already know in May we got X-Men Days of Future Past, and then we have X-Men Apocalypse in 2016, and then James Mangold says they'll make The Wolverine 3 after X-Men Apocalypse, so probably either for 2017 or 2018. So quite some time still left to go. Still no word, though, on Hugh Jackman, and if Hugh Jackman is actually even returning. We don't know if he's even coming back for X-Men Apocalypse, or if he's going to be back for Wolverine 3. So, but the director's chugging along, and he's moving along, and he's saying that they'll make it after X-Men Apocalypse. Woo! Alright, so that, my friends, gets you caught up to your week in movie news. TV, movies, music, the whole nine. Like I said, if you want to see the new posters of the weeks, YouTube videos, all the trailers, everything wrong with, honest trailers, all of it, head on over to facebook.com/amiontheair and check that all out. We're going to switch gears over to the music charts, and then we'll do the box office charts, and we'll wrap up for the night. Over on the album charts, coming in number 10 is Ashanti with her new album, Braveheart. Number 9 is Eric Church with The Outsiders. Number 8 is Schoolboy Q with Oxymoron. Number 7 is Lorde with Pure Heroin. Number 6 is Beck with Morning Phase. Number 5 is Eli Young Band with 10,000 Towns. Number 4 is Leah Michelle with Louder. Number 3 is the Frozen soundtrack. Number 2 is Pharrell Williams with Girl. And the number 1 album, number 1 hotshot debut, it's Rick Ross with Mastermind. Heading on over to the singles, coming in number 10 is Pitbull featuring Kesha with Timber. Number 9 is Indina Menzel with Let It Go. Number 8 is OneRepublic with Counting Stars. Number 7 is Drunken Love by Beyonce featuring Jay-Z. Number 6 is Team by Lorde. Number 5 is Bastille with Pompeii. Number 4 is Jason Derulo featuring 2 Chainz with Talk Dirty. Number 3 is John Legend with All of Me. Number 2 is Katy Perry featuring Juicy J with Dark Horse. And the number 1 song, once again, I don't know why, because I hate it so much, but it's Pharrell with Happy. I just don't get why now, man. Happy is from fucking Despicable Me 2, which has been on DVD and Blu-ray for months. This song came out over the summer, like in July. Why is it the number 1 song now? I just don't get it. It makes me not happy. That's what I want to tell you. Alright, switching gears over to the movie side again for your releases and box office. On DVD and Blu-ray this Tuesday is American Hustle, Frozen, Saving Mr. Banks, and Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. So it's a big release date this Tuesday. Lots of Oscar and Golden Globe winning and nominated films. American Hustle, Frozen, Saving Mr. Banks, and Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom, out on DVD and Blu-ray Tuesday. In theaters on Friday is Divergent, Muppets Most Wanted, and Bad Words. And your weekend box office. Coming in number 10 is Veronica Mars with $2 million. And some people, if you don't know, they might be saying, oh, Veronica Mars just came out, and it was on number 10, only made $2 million. That's kind of a bomb, ain't it? Actually, no. If you didn't know, Veronica Mars was actually made off of a Kickstarter budget. They did a $5 million Kickstarter budget to make this film. And basically, this movie is a same-day as theaters on-demand type film. You can go on your Comcast right now, your DirecTV, and you can actually order and watch this film from your living room for $8. You know, but what they ended up doing is they ended up putting it out in like 200 theaters, which typically a film opens up in like over 1,000 theaters. This only opened in 200 theaters, so for it to be number 10 with $2 million, it's pretty damn decent, actually. And it's made a lot of money digitally, so it definitely made its money back. So Veronica Mars at $2 million at number 10. Number 9 is Frozen, which actually, like I just said, it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray on Tuesday, and it's still in the top 10 of the box office. How do you even explain that? But Frozen with $2.1 million at number 9. Number 8 is The Grand Budapest Hotel with $3.6 million. Number 7 is Son of God with $5.4 million. Number 6, The Lego Movie with $7.7 million. Number 5 is The Single Moms Club. That's the new Tyler Perry film, and it's actually the lowest of his career. Single Moms Club bringing in $8.3 million for a number 5 debut. Number 4 is Nonstop with $10.6 million. Number 3, Need for Speed, baby. Like I talked about earlier in the show, Need for Speed was the number 3 debut, bringing in $17.8 million, but it also brought in $45.6 million internationally, so it's already made its budget back. Number 2, it's 300, Rise of an Empire, with $19.1 million, plus another $41.3 million internationally. Woo! 300 killing it. And the number 1 movie, this was actually number 2 last weekend, losing to 300. This weekend it bumps up due to strong word of mouth. Your number 1 film, family films always seem to pull it off. Number 1, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, with $21.2 million. And that, my friends, is your top 10 box office results. And that'll do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. Another nice hour-long episode, cranking you down with the latest news and results. And let's shout it out. Let's shout it. Shout it out loud. I just want to shout out actually that, somebody had told me the other day, hey, I missed the last couple episodes. Where can I go to find, the backlog? And that's a great question because I don't ever really talk about, the archive. It's really easy to go to amiontheair.com and click on latest episode and listen to the latest episode. But what about episodes from last week or the week before or the week before that? If you go to amiontheair.com, you click on more, you'll see some extra categories. There's a tab that says Red Dragons Radio. If you click on Red Dragons Radio, it will basically list every episode right there. And if you want to go even further back to when we used to be on Blog Talk Radio, there's actually another tab that says BTR Archive. So you can always listen to that there. But if you're looking for something within the last couple months, just go to the Red Dragons Radio tab and you can listen to everything right there. Cool? So I got to shout out the affiliates, which of course starts with RedDragonsRadio.com. Red Dragons Radio, always streaming us all the time, every day. RedDragonsRadio.com. Follow on Twitter over at Red Dragons Radio. Our friends over at the Excess Radio Network, you can follow on Twitter at Excess Radio. And of course, our friends over at Ultimate Sports Talk, where you can follow on Twitter at ULT Sports Talk, and it's ultimatesportstalk.com where we're in syndication. You can listen to us on iTunes, download, rate, and subscribe. You can find our iTunes tab right on our official webpage. Just click on the affiliate/iTunes tab, and you'll see the iTunes button right there. Please download, rate, and subscribe. If you subscribe and you listen on iTunes, please give us a ranking and a little review there. It'll help us out a lot because the more people review, the higher up we kind of bounce on iTunes list. So that would really help us out. And of course for us, once again, the official webpage is amiontheair.com. That's what you want to bookmark. You can see all the movie reviews, box office, release dates, everything we talk about, and listen to all the latest episodes. Like us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/amiontheair. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/amiontheair. Remember, if you want to be up to date on all this news, all the news is posted in real time throughout the week on the Twitter and on the Facebook page every single day. So you can see all this stuff drop. Make a special page for the feed. Even if you're not on Twitter, just go to twitter.com/amiontheair and just follow the stream. That's all that matters. Just as long as you get the news. That's what matters here. Please follow me on Twitter. It's twitter.com. You can follow me at DXDonMega. And if you want to listen to us on the go, Stitcher is the best app to do that on. Stitcher.com. Download the app on iOS, on Android, on Windows phones. Stitcher allows you to listen to us on the go without having to download anything. We're also on Spreaker in syndication as well. We're also on TuneIn, but not really many people use TuneIn. And TuneIn kind of is hit and miss on what they update, so I don't really bother too much with them. But we're everywhere else. You should have no trouble finding us. amiontheair.com is the best way to go. And once again, that'll do it for us tonight for this March 16th. I'm not sure if we'll be back next Sunday, because next Sunday is my birthday. March 23rd, it's my birthday. I might actually just take the night off. So it depends on how I feel. It depends on what's going on. I'm not sure if I'll do an episode or not. So please give me a little bit of a pass if I don't do an episode next Sunday. But I'll probably do one either Monday night or Tuesday night or something. Maybe I'll do one Saturday night. I don't know. I won't keep you guys hanging on too long, but I just want to let you know I don't know if I'll do it next Sunday because it is my birthday. Other than that, thank you so much once again for the support, all the love. I appreciate everybody tuning in on a weekly basis and supporting the show. I appreciate it, and that's why I do it. I do it for the love of entertainment news, and I'm glad that you guys listen. Lining up some stuff coming up. Got a lot of people that want to come on and be guest host with me and do some special stuff. So, as we get closer to the summer, I'm sure I'll have some guests on, and we'll talk, Winter Soldier. We'll talk summer movie countdowns. Maybe we'll bring Nick back and do some summer stuff. We got a lot of things kind of cooking in the bucket. So, yeah, just stay tuned and for some special guests. And thanks once again for just listening to good old DONMEGA. It's been great. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And it's been another Red Dragons Radio exclusive. Thanks again for listening to Am I on the Air? I am DONMEGA. Until next time, peace. Red Dragons!